Here's a question nobody asks until it's too late. When you swipe your card for something big, do you actually know which pocket that money came out of? Not your checking account. I mean the real pocket. Was it income you just earned? Was it a return your money made for you? Or was it a piece of the actual machine that makes your money in the first place? Most people have no idea. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which bucket you're spending from, plus 9 other rules that quietly separate people who stay stuck from people who build real wealth. Stick around, because rule number 1 is the one almost nobody gets right, and it changes how you'll look at every purchase you make from today on. Let's start at number 10. Build a cash buffer before you need one. Here's the thing about cash. During a bull market, everybody makes fun of it. It's just sitting there, they say. It's not growing. And sure, compared to stocks or real estate, cash looks lazy. But that's the wrong way to judge it, because cash was never supposed to make you rich. Its job is to protect you. Picture this. Your car transmission dies, or you lose your job for 2 months, and you don't have anything set aside. What happens? You reach for a credit card at 20-something% interest, or worse, you're forced to sell investments at exactly the moment they're down. That's the sale nobody wants to make, cashing out at the bottom because you had no other option. An emergency fund breaks that trap. It buys you time to think instead of panic. Notice what changes the moment you have that buffer sitting there. The same unexpected bill that used to feel like an emergency just becomes an annoyance. You pay it, you move on, you don't lose sleep. That shift alone is worth more than most people realize. And here's the twist. The same cash that looks boring in good times becomes your biggest advantage in bad times, because it lets you buy quality assets at a steep discount when everyone else is forced to sell. That's not a coincidence. That's exactly what large corporations do. They sit on cash reserves so they can pounce when others can't. You're not just protecting yourself. You're positioning yourself to play offense while everyone around you is playing defense. Number 9, increase your income every year. If your income sits still for even a few years, you're not standing still. You're falling behind because inflation keeps moving whether your paycheck does or not. Same salary, shrinking lifestyle. And here's the surprising part. Just waiting for your yearly raise from your employer usually isn't enough to fix that. The data is pretty clear on this. People who switch jobs tend to see bigger pay jumps than people who stay loyal and hope for the best. So income growth can't be passive. It has to be something you actively chase, sharpening a specialized skill, negotiating your salary on a regular basis, or building something on the side that puts extra dollars in your pocket. Here's the mindset shift. Your career, not your portfolio, is usually the biggest financial asset you own in your 20s and 30s. Long before your investments are doing any heavy lifting, your income is the engine. Think about it this way. A portfolio that's still small can only grow so fast, no matter how good your returns are. But your income has almost no ceiling if you're willing to push it. A short course, a new certification, a harder conversation with your manager once a year. These are small, repeatable actions, and they compound just like money does, except the interest gets paid straight into your paycheck. Number 8, prioritize your savings rate over your investment returns. Everyone obsesses over returns. Which stock, which fund, which crypto is going to make them rich. But here's a number that puts things in perspective. To generate an extra $10,000 a year just from a 7% return, you'd need a portfolio worth well over $140,000. That's a massive pile of money working for a long time. Now compare that to just saving $10,000 by keeping your current car 2 more years, negotiating your insurance rates, skipping one expensive vacation, or finally canceling the subscriptions you forgot you had. For most people, that second path is far more realistic than chasing better returns. And here's something worth sitting with. Even the wealthiest families on Earth the ones with returns most of us dream about, still spend enormous energy on preservation, trusts, tax planning, protecting what they already built. If the ultra-wealthy care that much about not losing money, that should tell you something about where your focus belongs too. Here's the blunt version. You control your savings rate every single month. You don't control the stock market next month. Focus your energy on the thing you can actually move. Number 7, buy productive assets that pay you to own them. There's a difference that trips a lot of people up. The difference between something that just appreciates and something that's actually productive. Gold, rare watches, fine art, these can go up in value, sure, but they don't pay you anything while you hold them. A productive asset is different. Think rental property, collecting rent every month, dividend stocks sending you a check every quarter, or a self-storage facility generating income around the clock. And here's the pattern among genuinely wealthy households. A huge chunk of their net worth isn't sitting in things that just look nice. It's sitting in equity and businesses that produce cash flow. Why does that matter so much? Because productive assets do something appreciating assets simply can't. They hand you income you can turn around and reinvest into buying even more assets. That's not just growth. That's compounding on 2 levels at once. Think of it like the difference between owning a painting and owning an employee. The painting might be worth more in 10 years, but it will never hand you a paycheck while you wait. A productive asset works for you every single day, whether the market is up, down, or sideways. Number 6, own equity whenever you possibly can. Here's an uncomfortable truth. A salary, by itself, almost never builds real wealth. Go look at the people who actually got rich working for a company, and you'll almost always find an equity event behind it. An IPO, an acquisition, stock options that turned into something huge. The early employees at massive tech companies didn't become millionaires because of their paycheck. They became millionaires because a piece of the company was theirs. So here's the move. Whenever you're joining a startup, helping grow a small business, or freelancing for a client that's clearly taking off, don't just negotiate a bigger hourly rate. Ask for a slice, stock options, equity, a real path to partnership. Because a wage increase makes your month better. Ownership can change your entire life. Number 5, negotiate every major purchase. At the grocery store, prices are fixed. Nobody's haggling over a gallon of milk. But the moment you're talking about a house, a car, furniture, or a contractor, almost everything is negotiable, and most people just don't ask. Here's the math that should change your behavior. Negotiating $10,000 off a home purchase is financially the exact same as getting a $10,000 raise, except it comes with 0 extra taxes. None. So before your next big purchase, ask for a better price. Ask for better financing. Ask for something thrown in. The absolute worst thing that happens is somebody says no, and you're right back where you started. The best thing that happens saves you a genuinely massive amount of money for the cost of one slightly awkward conversation. Number 4, leave low-ceiling careers early. Before you spend years becoming excellent at something, it's worth stepping back and asking a hard question. Does this field even have room for you to win big? Look at the industry today versus 5 years ago. Is it creating more opportunity or less? Look at the people 10 years ahead of you on this exact path. Is their life something you actually want? There are 3 ceilings worth checking. The income ceiling. What do the top 10% in this field actually earn? The demand ceiling. Is this industry growing or quietly shrinking? And the ownership ceiling. Will you ever get to own equity or a business here? Or will you be trading hours for dollars forever with no way out? If all 3 ceilings are low, that's not a character flaw in you. That's a math problem with the field itself. And the earlier you spot it, the cheaper it is to change direction. 5 years into a career, changing course costs a little pride. 15 years in, it can cost a house, serious strain on a marriage, and a decade you don't get back. Number 3, avoid lifestyle inflation. Upgrading to the luxury car, moving into the bigger house, it feels incredible for about a week. Then something strange happens. You'd think that new baseline of comfort would stick, but it doesn't. Psychologists call it hedonic adaptation. Your brain quietly resets to a new normal after almost any big change, good or bad. Give it about 6 months, and that amazing upgrade just feels like Tuesday. And the moment it feels ordinary, your brain starts eyeing the next big purchase to chase that same high. Once you actually understand this pattern, it gets a lot easier to resist because you already know exactly how the story ends before you spend the money. Number 2, never finance depreciation. Borrowing money to buy something that's losing value every single day is mathematically a losing game, full stop. Now, sometimes financing a depreciating asset is genuinely necessary. A basic, reliable car to get you to work. A work truck that generates real income for your business. Fair enough. But financing a luxury item purely to look a certain way, that's where people quietly bleed money. Think about what's actually happening. You're paying interest on something that's becoming cheaper every month you own it. The asset shrinks while the bill doesn't. Do that enough times over enough years, and it doesn't just slow your wealth down, it actively destroys it. Picture 2 people earning the exact same salary. One finances a status purchase every few years and never gets ahead financially, despite looking successful. The other drives something plain and boring and quietly builds a portfolio in the background. 10 years later, only one of them has actions. And that brings us to number 1, the rule I promised you at the very beginning. Know exactly which financial bucket you're spending from. Before any major purchase, ask yourself one question. Is this money coming from income, the cash you earned from working? Is it coming from returns, the money your assets generated for you? Or is it coming from principal, the actual invested asset itself? Here's the strategy wealthy families and university endowments have used for generations. Spend the returns and protect the principal, so the principal can keep producing wealth indefinitely. Sometimes selling off a piece of your principal for a genuinely major life event isn't wrong at all, but you have to know that's what you're doing. You have to see the trade-off clearly instead of spending blind. So here's the real takeaway. None of these 10 rules are complicated. None of them require a finance degree. What they require is awareness, catching yourself before the purchase, before the emergency, before the lifestyle creep sneaks in. Which one of these 10 hit you the hardest? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if this actually changed how you're going to think about your next purchase, do me a favor. Subscribe, hit like, and drop a comment so more people who need to hear this can find it.